Yeah, Kavya.
A very good evening to everybody present here, as well as all the people who have joined us live in today's Global Ed workshop. The topic is student led learning, which is a very in buzz term in today's 21st century classrooms. So, student-led learning, the term itself is self-explanatory. We are striving towards, creating classrooms where children themselves are the creators of their own knowledge, and teacher is a facilitator who is leading students to reach that goal.
And teacher is
So, so today we have our eminent speakers amongst us who are going to shed light on this topic. I take this opportunity to welcome both our speakers today, Ms. Deepthi Sani, Ms. Shipra Bhavaseti. I welcome you both to today's meeting, ma'am. I'll begin by introducing our first speaker for the day, Ms. Deepthi. Uh, she does not require an introduction, but then we'll I'll introduce her. Ma'am, could we move to the next slide, please? Yeah. So, ma'am is she's an award-winning educator and she's the CEO of Mahatatwa, and she leads the development of Create Curriculum, a transformative program that equips schools and education leaders with resources that promote innovative learning for students in India. She works closely with Google India and on teacher training projects, and she's passionate about technology, and she has a lot of experience working with schools in India and in the UK. She plays a very key role in developing transformative programs in curriculum innovation. She is a passionate advocate for social change. Her project, Design Thinking for Social Change, which encourages students how to identify and solve social problems by innovative design thinking, has been made into a case study by the University of Pennsylvania, USA. Ms. Deepti's work is empowering. She believes in empowering teachers and students, and she wants to be a change maker. She is a change maker, and we I take this opportunity to welcome her. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you, Sneha. I think this has given me an aim in life that when I grow up, I want to be a change maker. Thanks for that introduction. And of course, it's always a pleasure to be here for our global ed community, the educators that are actually passionate about what's happening in the education space. And I'm here today with my team and Shipra from Silver Line Prestige School, Ghaziabad. They have been practicing student-led learning for so long now. I think more than 3-4 years. Just before the pandemic happened, yeah, they were one of the schools which actually anticipated and they actually wanted this kind of learning even before the pandemic actually forced a lot of schools to go elsewise. So, thank you for joining us, Shipra. I'm just going to give a little bit of a context to student led learning and student led conferences before Shipra shares our journey. Yeah, so I think when we talk about student led conferences, what we are doing is we are empowering the children to tell their own story of their success. And also, if they have not been, doing as well as they think, they can always, talk about the targets that they are setting for themselves, and also how they want to go towards that target. So the real beauty of student led learning via the conferences is that the children get empowered to have responsibility of their own learning, and taking a pride in their accomplishments, and also understanding that yes, this is my journey. I have a lot of adults who are going to support me in this journey, but yes, I'm responsible. So when we look at the student-led conferences, that's one of the major part where we are going to discuss about how the student-led learning happens. We also understand that these children, when they set their own goals, are setting ownership of their own process. They are looking at how are they going to reflect on this entire journey. How are they going to look at what are the pathways that need to go towards that goal that they have set for themselves? So if you really look at this entire process, it is about empowering them to become a leader. It's also about getting the children to understand that this is something that will be a lifelong skill. This is not something that you will do for 1 year, and also something which will go on year after year as you're in school. So by the time the children leave their schools and go on to greener pastures, or I would say go on to universities and colleges, they understand that self reflection, goal setting, understanding that this is my responsibility, my ownership in the entire process, is something which comes very naturally to them. So when we look at what these schools are doing per se, though you actually, when you become a school which is practicing the student-led conference, you are encouraging the children, like I said, taking their own responsibility and ownership of their own learning. What it also does, and this is also very nicely explained in the NEP 2020, that how the children have to self-reflect, have becoming a self-regulated learner, where they reflect on their own goal setting and they empower themselves for the holistic progress card that everybody now is talking about. So, getting the children on an autopilot for self reflection is something that becomes absolutely inherent to them. And I think what it also does is it gets the parents, the families, the communities also closer, because here is a student who's talking about his own journey for the learning process that he's had, whether it is for the term or the semester or the entire year. So, like I said, what are the benefits? I have spoken about this now for 2 3 minutes, and I think it's pretty obvious that the communication between the school and home, something which is always a narrative between a parent and a teacher, this becomes like a ground where the child stands up smartly in front of the parent and the teacher in a sort of a trinity, wherein he or she talks about what learning has this child done. So that, I think, is the biggest takeaway for student-led conferences or student-led learning. They also get real life skills, which are become like a inherent thing for them, like communication, organizing, leadership, also taking self-reflection as a path for making their skills better. It also teaches the children to focus on the learning per se. So here we are not talking about, I got a 6 on 10. It is about, what my process was, what my learning process was, and what did I do with it, and what are the goals that I've set, and how do I move towards that goal. So it is, thinking about your thinking, it's about metacognition, all of that comes into play. When the children are doing goal setting, there is a buy-in from all the stakeholders in the learning process. This is also a time where the parent and the student are actually closely discussing just about learning. And to tell you very frankly, and Shipra will be talking about this in a bit, the teachers, in today's world, for the last 6 to 8 years, I've been hearing teachers, maybe a little more than that, that the parents come into the PTM and they just point fingers and they say, you haven't done that, you haven't done this. And the same kind of thing happens when the teacher talks to the student as well, because the parents have been talking in a certain way at home. Now, what happens here is the ownership goes on to the student. The student talks about his or her own stake in the learning process, and it becomes like a neutral ground where we are talking wholly and solely about the child's learning journey, and also what the child plans for the future. Now here, very cleverly, we are there as adults to support this entire process, but at the face of it, it's the child who's taking a lead. So this is something which happens beautifully. The teachers feel less stressed, and there is no pointing fingers. And I remember as a kid, when we went for PTMs, if there was something wrong, our parents used to scold us. Why haven't you done this? Why haven't you done that? But nowadays, the teachers are feeling the complete brunt of what the child is not doing in the class. So this actually neutralizes the entire ground and makes it a very cohesive environment to talk about. There are some schools where there are parents who are first generation learners or second generation learners who have come from a certain region and they can't understand English. And if yours is a English medium school, this becomes like a nice bridge, because the child understands how the parent will understand. So that communication is done by the student. The students are also the center of the entire on the entire conference. They are at the center of the learning, and that is how this entire thing is projected. Uh, so this is what I've been talking about. So I've just put it down in points that the students get sense of ownership of their own learning. It makes the students independent. The students take pride in their work. So when the conference is about to happen, there is a portfolio, whether it is digital or in a file. The parents get the children to talk about it and understand what it is. And the students, when they choose their piece of work that they want to put in for the SLC, the children actually make a choice. So it is about which is that work which I want to show during the SLC. They are actually looking at monitoring their own progress, and they identify, the goal setting happens by them. And overall, I think this entire SLC, which is epitome of student-led leadership, how that hones the leadership attribute of our children. So when the conference is about to start, there are some responsibilities that the teacher has. So when you initiate the conference in your school, what you need to understand is that when you start giving them tasks in the class, the tasks should be such that they talk about their work. So suppose you have decided that you will be doing student led learning in your school, and you will be projecting that as a SLC to the parents. You have to make sure that the tasks actually talk about the skills, it talks about the processes, it talks about the learning outcomes, it talks about what the children are talking about, self on their on their work, that is their self reflection, and how are you going to execute that. So if you think that you're going to do an SLC in 3 months after the school has opened and you don't have anything to showcase, that would be really sad. So you have to understand that right from the beginning, you have to plan that there will be portfolios, we will be projecting processes, and we will not be looking at products, because most of the time, even in the PYP conferences which happen, a lot of the schools, showcase products. This is what the children have created, and this is what they did. Rather than that, I would advise to look at the process. Even if it is a small little project that the children have made, how did they make it? What was their journey towards that? How did they get those skills which were required for this kind of learning? So how did that happen? So when you have started using the conference, just give me a minute, please. Sorry about that. So when you talk about the conference as a teacher, you also need to help the students decide what are the examples that they're going to show for the conference. You also have to get the children to self reflect. So what kind of self reflection journey are the children going to depict. There is also, a formal way of doing stuff, so you can get the children to create cover sheets, to create file folders, projects, or whatever their process journey has been. So that's the part that the teacher has to do. This is a practice that we started at Silverline a few years back, where we were still in the pandemic, and the children were asked to write little letters to their parents, inviting them for the SLC. So they said that, we've done a lot of work and I want to show you what we have done. So asking them for that proper, time slot for that, and uh, getting them to be there. So when we actually get the children prepped for it, for the first few SLCs, and Shipra will vouch for that, you have to get the children to get into the groove of how the SLC happens. And then in a few years, because they do it every year, twice, they become very adept at it. So we tell them, okay, you have to introduce yourself to the parent, you have to introduce the teachers and the parent to each other. So how are you going to show your portfolio? Some of them say that I want to show it electronically, some say that they want to show some pieces which are tangible, can be seen. So they create an overview of all of that. Then they pick up their favorite sort of an assignment, or a project or something that they've done. So they talk about, what it was, what the project was, what the assignment was, what are the skills that the children learned, and how did they go on self reflecting on how it came about, and what was your goal setting, what are the goals that you've set for the next and we also involve the children's parents by giving them a rubric. So every time the child presents, there is a rubric which is with the student, with the teacher, and with the parent as well. So when we started this, I think in the complete school of nearly 2,500 children, just one parent said that, ma'am, it will be very difficult for me to judge my own child. But others were all for it, and they actually adulated the entire process. And of course, we also get the children to thank their parents to being there for the conference and helping them in their learning journey. So for student led learning, we talk about how does it make a difference for the children. So I've created this little infographic for you all, that the children become problem solvers because they take control of their own learning. They develop a growth mindset. They become a systems thinker. They're looking at processes all the time. Um, they look at their mistakes as learning opportunities. They become more creative because it gives them that onus of, this is my work, this is how I'm doing, and this is how I need to go ahead. So being using creativity a lot in problem solving. They also understand what iterative thinking is. So the product that they're making, they create prototypes, or like for English, they'll create draft 1, draft 2, draft 3 before they actually put in the piece for evaluation. So it goes on for self evaluation, peer evaluation, and then finally the teacher evaluation. So various iterations come in between before the product is presented to the teacher. So they understand that feedback is essential, feedback can be constructive, and they give feedback to each other. So that's like building a community. And I think in all of this, the children become self-directed. So this is what my thinking is about student-led learning via the student-led conferences. And now I hand you over back to Sneha, who's going to look at what Shipra is going to be talking about, the student-led conferences that have been going on at Silverline Prestige School, Ghaziabad. Over to you, Sneha.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for your thoughts on this topic. I move on to introduce our next speaker for the day, Shipra ma'am. Uh, Miss Shipra Pavaseti is an experienced educator teaching science to middle school students at Sirviland Prestige School. She holds a master's degree in physics and is a Google certified educator. She's the curriculum in charge in her school and has successfully been using Google Suite for Education with her team for the last 3 years. She had led various projects to implement progressive pedagogical practices in classroom teaching, and by leveraging her expertise in project based learning, she has been managing and leading Project Siddhi in her school. She has been conducting sessions and empowering her team for successful and impactful projects through PBL. We welcome you today, ma'am. Over to you.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. So, thank you so much, Deepti ma'am, for giving me this platform to speak about SLC. This is one of the things which we also learned along with our students when we conducted SLC. It has been third year in our school this time. We started this during the COVID times, and it was online for the first 2 years, and then we went offline. Both the journeys online and offline had different experiences, and which really let us learn that sometimes that we need to leave our children to take their own steps, small steps, to take their own ownership in doing their work, and hence they will be the commanding soldiers of their own work journey, and hence they will be a better human in the coming years in their life. We are aiming to develop the 21st century skills in our children, so the first thing what we need to give them is the platform where they can speak for their own self. I will just take a minute to present my screen.
Sure. And that is true, Shipra. Getting them to understand, and I love your phrase, getting them to become soldiers and marching towards the future. And that is actually what you have achieved. Shipra is modest people, so she will not talk a lot about herself, but she's a great initiator of innovative projects in her school and has achieved much um, in her job as a teacher and now as a leader. So, do you need help with sharing, Shipra?
Yes, I think so. Somehow it is not going on the.
Okay. So, if you can share the link with us, we'll help you with that. Do you have Sneha's number?
Yes, I have.
Yeah, you can send it to her and
In the
we'll.
meantime, it's going. I'm just going to share what all
Mm,
we do in our school for the SLC. So,
sure.
student-led conference. When we started, the goal was just as I shared, to let the students be the owner of their own work, let them take the pride in showcasing what all they are doing. In like we have the SLC for two times in a year. One is during the midterms, and another is during the final examination or after the final examination. So we let them take the ownership what they have done during the last 4 5 months. There might be certain places where they have not been able to accomplish the complete task what they thought of accomplishing. So we also let them take the ownership of setting their own targets, that this was a thing which I was not able to complete, so this is my target which I'm going to complete now. uh, we also give them the freedom to accept their own mistakes, as well as take pride in taking the steps forward to show and tell that this was my achievement, even though the small or large hardly matters, but I have been able to accomplish this was my achievement. So we have seen children who are good at sports, they mainly focus on the sports area to show that this is something we which we have accomplished at the medals in the zonal level, district level, or even in the school level.
Yeah, Sneha is just getting it on. Yeah, there you go.
Okay, so SLC, as I have said, that it mainly aims to make a connect between the parent, teacher, and the students. Now, when we are talking about making a connect between the parent, teacher, and the student, it makes means that we all are standing at the same place, talking about the benefit of the child. We understand what the child is communicating to us. Uh, so how can a student present a topic? Now again, it's a voice and choice for the student. The student has entirely his own idea how to present it. He can pick up the project work which he has done in the past few months. He can also take up as a presentation on the screen. He can make a portfolio folder. It can be even the written work which he has done in the copies, notebooks, where he has claimed to do some research or get us an output out of a project what he has been given. He can take a concept which he thinks he has been able to grasp very perfectly and is now able to deliver the concept based upon his understanding, or even he can also perform an activity showcasing that this was something which he has achieved as a skill in the last 5 months and has been able to take get it done perfectly because of the clearing of the concept. When we talk about the SLC, the first year was a bit difficult one for us, but because we started with a perfect planning, a general flow was introduced to the students and the parents as well, so that they have an idea that how we are going to go with the flow of the SLC. As Deepti ma'am said, that it for first 15 seconds we gave the time frame so that the child can actually accomplish this whole process in the span of 10 minutes, because that's the span given to each child to present his SLC, his accomplishments, and even whatever targets he is going to set. So the first one goes with the introduction. Then he will speak about his own achievements, whatever work he has done in each of the subjects. To make it precise, we gave the child a opportunity to choose any four subjects, out of which one should be a language. So child picks up any four of his work which he thinks is good enough or he has excelled enough to showcase in front of his parent and the teacher. Once he has done that, then he sets up his own goal, that this was my goal when I started my journey at the starting of the session, and this is how I have achieved my goal. And if there are certain goals which he has not achieved, then he will set them as a target. Action plan and strategy will be discussed along with setting of the targets to let the parent and the teacher both know that how the child is going to progress further with the action plan and how he's going to achieve the goals which have not been achieved so far. One of the very beautiful aspect of SLC is when the child stands up and speaks about his own strength and his own areas of interest. We also include the areas of improvement here, because when the child speaks that this is my strength, but I think out of my strength this small portion is my area of improvement. Like I had an example in my school where a girl, she is very confident in her own self. She says that I think my area of strength is how I present myself in front of the audience, but my weakness is that I do not analyze a situation where I should speak, where I should like stop myself from speaking. So she understands that her personality is too strong, but she needs to work on some of the areas of her personality to make her a better human being. The last few seconds is for the briefing and the acknowledgement, where the child uh, thanks to his teacher or the parent. Uh, Again, there have been instances where the child, because there have been lot of piled up in the child, there have been lot of emotions which he was not able to manage. So the child speaks up there and then that I think my teachers are expecting too much from me and I am not able to cope up with that particular stress. So I need some solution for it. Either you need to restrict your expectations, see to it that how much I can achieve, or you give me a way out that how can I manage what you are expecting me to do. And same goes for the parent. I have seen instances where the child speaks up and tells the parent, now this is something which I am not able to cope up, let's talk about it. One of the child, that girl walked out with his father, promising that today I'm going to go out with my father, excluding my mother, because my mother is not able to understand my situation right now. So me and my father are going to talk today, and we are going to sort out this thing, and then I'm going to come up fresh with the second half of my year. So it feels like we are giving the child an opportunity to manage his emotions and also speak out what his heart is going to. The last few minutes are for the question answers. Though whatever the flow we have discussed so far, a lot of discussion happens, and because of which the child is able to tell that what he is trying to do in the coming few months and what he has been able to do. uh, when we talk about SLC, I think there are certain parameters which need to be shared with the child before he starts with the SLC, so that the child knows what I need to showcase, what I need to present, and the parent knows on what factors we need to assess our child. The teacher, parent, and the child, all three know the rubrics what have been shared with the child few days prior to the SLC day. So, taking into the consideration that there are few parents who are not very friendly with the English language, so we have made our rubrics in our school which takes both the language into consideration. The same thing has been explained in English as well as in Hindi. So we have four rubric parameters here: readiness, quality, uh, presentation, and all of them consist of marks. Why marks? It's the aim is not to again stress out the child that you are going to get marks with some kind of evaluation or something, but at times with these marks what the child is getting from his parent, the child feels that yes, my parent also understands what struggle I'm going through when I'm achieving such small aims in my life, when I'm taking those baby steps towards a huge success which is awaited in the coming future. The parent is very happy and and gives the marks in a justified way, where he sits there, listens to what the child is saying, and then gives the marks accordingly. So we share these parameters with the parent and the child few days before the SLC. Can we go to the next slide, please? uh, no process is complete without a reflection. Whether if there are three entities who are involved in this SLC, parent, teacher, and the child, that all three should be involved in the reflection process, so that, because at the end of the day we are doing all this for the child to get a benefit out of it, to understand what are the expectations of parent and teacher, and the parent and teacher to understand what are the expectations and the problem areas of the child, so that we can work collaboratively in working for the same. So this is a parent reflection form which we share with the parent at the time of the SLC, when the parent is there present and has attended the SLC. So the parent fills the form. It consists of all the factors which I just shared in the rubrics. They have to give the reflection based upon whatever the child has performed in the SLC at that time. Can we move to the next slide, please? So this is the form responses which we get. So the ID, name, parent name, student name, the marks which they have given, remarks what they have given, and any area of improvement which they think the child may have, or the child should develop in the coming few months. So when the SLC is over, the child gets to know that this is what my parent has given me as a feedback, and the child actually gets enthusiastic in accomplishing those small things which the parent is expecting. The expectation bar becomes clear. The scenario becomes clear that this is how I have to work further, because it's only small baby steps which he has to take to accomplish what has been expected out of him. Can we go to the next slide, please? As we have the parent reflection form, similarly we have a teacher reflection form. The format remains same throughout. The parameters remain same as mentioned in the rubrics. As at the time when the parent is giving the reflection, at the same time the teacher is also giving the reflection. So why and how we make it sure that this becomes a process for the child, where the child gets benefit out of this, is when we are including this into the report cards, which we call the holistic progress cards in our school. So the if I talk about the marks bifurcation, 40 marks feedback is given by the parent, 40 marks feedback is given by the teacher. The average of both is taken out, and 10 marks is given for the portfolio what the child has presented on that day. The portfolio can be the evidences which he has collected, either in the sort of a presentation, or in sort of a file which he has maintained throughout the months, where he is collecting his own artifacts or the evidences that this was my work, or he can also carry the projects. So that is the compilation of all the things which makes the portfolio. So the total marks goes into the a separate column into the report card for the child, where the parent was involved, the child was involved, and the teacher was involved in giving a reflection and letting the child process the journey of SLC in the school. Uh, so this is the mark list what we prepare in our school as a compiled thing, feedback from the parent, from teacher, and then the portfolio. So it's all the calculative things what we do. Each class, each section, each child has a documentation of his own progress in this mark list, which goes to the report card of that particular child. So when I'm talking about SLC, the holistic progress card, this is how we reflect it into the HPC in our school. Because it has been a third year, so the children feel that this is the easiest way they can score marks, because they have been doing a lot of activities throughout the months. There are a lot of skills which they have developed. There are a lot of strength areas which they have maintained and developed as well. So they just need to be vocal about it. They just need to take the ownership of it, and they just need to have good communication skills. So that's how we also instill the 21st century skills in our children, where they come up as a leader, speak up for their own self. They take the initiative to pick up the work what they have done. At times it happens that they also speak that I have not been able to do much in these particular subjects, and I make it a point that I'm going to show only these particular subjects in my next SLC. So that is also an achievement area for us teachers as well as parents, because that's how we aim for the holistic growth of the child. Can we move to the next slide, please? Okay, so as ma'am said that we started with this journey, the first year of sending invitations to the parents. So invitations happen both ways, because we are doing this SLC from class 3 till class 12th. So when we talk about the young minds, they are always creative, and they always use their hands and the artistic skills to make those invitation cards. So they send these cards to their parents and the teacher. They send the soft copy of these cards before the SLC, and then they carry these cards on the day of the SLC, welcoming the parent and teacher on the very moment, introducing both of them, and then starting on with their process, what they have to explain in the SLC, what all they are showcasing. The next slide will show the digital cards, because senior children, they are more digitally connected. So few of the 3 4 5 grade children also go for the digital cards, but it all depends upon the artistic characteristic of the child, how much he is interested in doing what. So this is again a voice and choice we have given to them. You can choose your own way to create your own invitation card, but it has to go to both parent and the teacher. So they use various ways. I have also seen few children using a video card to invite the parent, where they are recording a 20-second video of their own, and telling their parent and teacher that you are welcome for the SLC. I'm going to do this and that. I'm going to show this, and I hope you are there and support me in this process. So as I said, that when we started the first year, it was the online SLC. What we did, the slots were shared with the parent. Each slot was of 10 minutes. Uh, uh, there were a lot of things what happened in the online SLC. The communication skills improved a lot. The presentation skills improved a lot, and the child was able to take onus of the work. So through these activities, when we talk about very like grades like 3 and 4, they do the activity, but they do not understand why they are doing the activity. So with this process, when we started with the SLC, they started documenting their skills, what they have gained after doing that particular activity. So after every activity, they used to write down, I developed learning skills, or I developed writing skills, or I developed thinking skills through this activity. And that's how they inculcated the habit of understanding that skills are something which need to be picked up. And that's why we say that whatever their inbuilt skills are, we hone those skills, and whatever their skills they need for being a successful person in the life, they need to develop this during the growing years of their school. So that starts from the very early years of class 3, where they particularly pick up the skills what they have developed. They also demonstrated about themselves that uh, what they feel about themselves. They also gave the learning outcomes of the particular activities which were very much connected to the chapters or the content or the concept what they have done. So picking up these small things through the SLC while they are making it, the first year I agree was a challenge, but gradually the first SLC was a challenge, I would say. This from second SLC onwards, they got the gist of it, that why we are doing it. They got it that this is how I can understand what my learning journey has been and what I have to do for this particular academic year in my school. So that became a awareness area for the child as well, where they understood that it's not only the textbook what I'm coming to read, it's not only the notebooks where I'm doing the work, it's not only the activities what matters. What matters is my learning journey, why I am doing this and what I'm learning out of it. So that became a huge success in our school, because now what happens when we are doing some activity, and if at all a teacher forgets that what will be the learning outcomes for this particular activity, the child picks it up right there and then, ma'am, this is what I'm going to learn from this particular activity. So skills, learning outcomes were one of two things which we were able to put in into our students on a regular basis in everything what they do in the school. Can we move on to the next slide, please? Uh, Similarly, when we talk about the senior children, so they, because of doing this presentation, we have a program in our school which is Siddhi, where they display their experiences of learning, which they have got through the activities, the projects across the grades and across the subjects. So when they face the public, when they face their own parent, they claim that whatever confidence I had, I got a boost into it, because when I spoke, I gave the answer to few questions and I got stuck up, and then I was helped out by the parent himself, telling me that this is how you can answer this question. That really helped them to increase my confidence. They not only pick up the skills and the learning outcomes or the areas of strength what they have, but they also make a strategic plan, as in how they are going to accomplish what has not been done. So that strategic plan is also a part of the presentation of the SLC, where they say that these particular areas are my danger areas and I have not been able to do. When a child is saying that this particular subject is my danger area, the question comes to him that why it is a danger area. So there the child accepts that yes, I have not been very punctual, or I have been not been very sincere with the subject. This is what my learning or the doing pattern was, which I think was not appropriate enough. So this is what I am going to do now. So when we get the ownership from the child that this is something which they have not been doing right, they accept it and then they say that I'm going to do it in this way because this is going to help me out. At that time, often being a teacher and the parent, we start giving our suggestions. So I often tell my students that it's okay not to accept the suggestions from your parent or teacher, because it's your learning journey. What you need to analyze is your weak area and how you can make it into your strength area. So you need to analyze that how you are going to change your way of learning or way of doing that particular thing. One of the key feature of the first and second SLC was the development or the acknowledgement that how they have developed their technological skills. That is one of the things which really was a boon to us during the COVID times. As Deepti ma'am said, that we already started a journey of transforming to the technology based school before COVID came, and it became a huge help and support to us under her guidance, that we were able to develop the technological skills into our students at a very easy and a rapid pace. So they claimed it in the first SLC, in the second SLC also, that these were the tools or the apps which I have been able to learn thoroughly because of the technology introduced in my school, and this is my achievement what I have done. Can we move to the next slide, please? Okay, so as I said that we had our SLC offline this year, and we asked this question to our students that out of online and offline, which one do you think is the better one? So they very clearly answered offline because they said that this is a connect which we felt today when we sat across each other, facing each other, when we told our challenge areas to you people and you gave us a solution, so we together found the solution here. This was a emotional connect what was missing when we were doing it online, and it was beautiful to hear that from them, because standing in front of the parent, teacher, and the audience, maybe one or two more parents, was a huge success and an achievement for them. They stood there, took claim of their own work, brought out their artifacts, whatever they have done in last 5 months. This also instilled the skill of or habit of responsibility in them, because they knew that because I have to showcase it in my SLC, which is going to happen after my midterm exams, I need to keep them safe and sound. So we saw that they were kept very beautifully, even though the project was done in the month of April and May before the summer break, but they kept it very nicely and they brought it today. And the children were carrying things along with them. They were talking about whatever skills they have developed. They were talking that mm, I'm not very confident, even though they were giving the SLC presentation confidently, speaking everything what they have done, but they still claim and say that I need to improve my confidence, I need to improve my speaking skills, because I still don't think it is at par what at to what I expect from me. So that's where we raise the bar for the child. That's where the child raises his or her own bar and understand that there is no limit to achieving something. The child understands that this is just a small step I have taken and there's a huge road ahead, and I have to keep on improving my own performance, my own skill, my own personality. uh, can we move to the next slide, please? uh, when the parent uh, sat there and heard their own child speaking in fluent English, taking the claim of their own work, uh, there was few of the parents who said that I never knew my child was so confident in public speaking. And they said that I never knew my child had done so beautiful work, because we do not check the work of our child regularly. So this is something where we got to know that there are a lot of things which my child has done, and this is one thing which I should learn from my child. So that smile on the face of the child after hearing these words was something which we really look forward to, because that gave the child a feeling of accomplishment, that today my parent or my father or my mother is proud of me that I have done this particular thing. With the help of SLC, we are trying to instill 21st century skills, as I already shared. Though Deepti ma'am has already shared with us what are the benefits of SLC, I will just take a quick view of it. Can we move to the next slide, please? So these are the senior children who are sharing their evidences. So when we talk about the benefits of the SLC, it is to showcase your work, whatever you have done, and you can take a credit for. You also need to take the responsibility for your own improvement and to chalk out a plan how to execute it. When if we leave it only for identifying the area of improvement and do not go for the execution plan, I do not think the loop gets completed over there. The gets completed when the child finds out the solution, that this is what my problem is, this should be the solution, this is how I'm going to do it. So next time when the parent comes and tells us that because a child spoke himself that I'm going to do it, so now he cannot back out from his own commitment, and he I can see a change in my child. It also gives us an open platform to discuss the problems and see the guidance from the parent and the teacher. As I was discussing at the starting of this presentation when I started speaking, one of the girl, she has a interest in vocal music, but because her studies were getting hampered a lot, she dropped that particular interest and just started concentrating on her studies. Now, because her interest area was no more involved into her journey of learning, so she was neither able to perform better in studies, and somehow she got stressed a lot. So when she sat in the SLC, she very clearly said, "I dropped the vocal because I wanted to prove to my parent that I am studying and I am trying to get good marks. What you expect from me, but I'm not able to cope up with your expectations because I'm neither being on the side where my interest area lies, and I'm not being on the side where I have to perform better in my studies." So the parent understood. We came to a conclusion that this is the plan of action which we are going to follow now. The child took the initiative to frame that plan of action there and then, because this was not in her agenda in the SLC, but because of the conversation happening, she came to the conclusion, this is how I'm going to work out, and I need your support in this particular area in this way. So this is how the connect becomes stronger between the parent and the child, and definitely that helps a child to boost his or her confidence and work better for her own future. As I said, it's to discover the areas of interest, inherent skills, and discuss them. That's why I give this example that this happens and it really helps a lot. Bridging the gap is one of the best key features of SLC, because at times, as ma'am said, in today's scenario, it often happens that the parent comes to the school in the PTM and just starts complaining and cribbing about the child, even though the teacher says that no, the child is doing good or he is improving. The parent at times is not ready to acknowledge that change and the betterment of the child which is happening. So when the child himself comes ahead and says, this is something which I have done and I'm really proud of it, even though it is a medal which he has won, even though it is an art competition, even though it's a maths project which the child has done, being maths his phobia area, or even though it's a science temperament which he has instilled into himself, he takes the ownership, and the parent understands that yes, my child is working towards a better future, and I'm going to be the best supportive parent to him. Thank you so much, Deepti ma'am. Without your guidance, this journey would have not been possible. And SLC is one of the key features which I think should be inculcated in the curriculum itself, because it helps not only the child, not the teacher, not the parent, but all three of them to be a better version of their own self for the future generations. Thank you.
This was an emotional, very very sort of a in I would say it came from within, Shipra. And I think when you look at this entire 30-40 minutes that you spoke with a lot of pride. And I think that was a very sort of a high for me to be able to say, this was superb work. And just so that our community who is listening in, I just want to tell you that the school had their first SLC for the year yesterday. And they are totally beaming because of that. And I have a message, yes, from Dr. Ved, where she says that she remembers the first interaction workshop we had with the school when the pandemic was on. And we were so brave. All of us thought, okay, let's do this, let's do the SLC and get the parents online and do the assessment. And she's written, it was such a pleasure to see the smiling parents. Some of them had never expected that the children could present with so much energy and confidence. She's also written that the parents were overjoyed, the children were happy, and the teachers were excited with their own students' performances. So I think that says it all. And before closing, I would also like to thank the school for being the brave one. And Naman, of course, is always that young Turk who makes sure that whatever we are thinking about, the teachers are supported to execute the entire engagement throughout the school. And that is what makes things successful at Silverline. So we are fortunate that way, isn't it, Chipra, that we have people who support us through and
We
through.
definitely are, ma'am. It was a huge experiment we did, and we were always confident that it's going to bring a huge change in our school, and we could see that in the behavior, in the skill based education, and in the performance of the child, where he is taking the ownership and being a happy child in our school.
Yeah, your all your examples showed just that. I mean, the each and every narration that you shared with us actually showed us how empowering it is. The whatever I was speaking off a slide, you actually got it into the session today and said, yes, things like this did happen. So over to you, Sneha, for closing up the session for today.
Yeah, before we end this session, I just want to thank both of you. And the last talk that we had with Shipra ma'am, I feel really emotional, and I also feel like, it was very powerful to see SLCs at work, to witness that, and to see the manner in which it is being implemented, and to see the kind of results that it is generating, the kind of impact that it is bringing forth in your school, in your students. So a big congratulations to you on that, to all the good efforts that your staff and your students together are achieving with the help of the other stakeholders. So before we end, I want to thank both of our speakers. You both have shed a lot of light on the power of student-led learning in today's, in the future. In today's generation, and the way they are going to take it up, becoming soldiers, like Praman said, of future. And I want to thank all the online viewers who are listening to us. Thank you for joining in. Bye bye.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Thank you, everyone.